With the long-awaited UK Brexit referendum coming up on Thursday, June the 23rd, this has the potential to be a huge week for trading in sterling and the euro. Sterling, for most of 2016, has been trading sideways in a channel between 140 and about 147. Why is this important? This has all been through the Brexit campaign and reflects the changing sentiment toward Brexit. When people were more worried about that the UK actually could leave, we see that it's traded down here to 140, and in February actually traded down closer to 138.50. On the other hand, when the momentum is seen to favor the Remain side, we've seen the sterling bump up towards 147, 140, 148, the high end of this range, with a little more resistance up near 150. The trading action in the last week quite significant after the shooting of MP Joe Cox, who had been on the Remain side on Thursday. We saw a big turnaround in the market. Prior to that news, the Leave side had a lot of momentum, and cable had found its way down to the bottom end of this trading range. It turned right around. It hasn't looked back. Over 3 days, it shot right up to the top of this trading range, feeling that event had sparked a big enough shift in sentiment among the electorate to push Remain to victory. And now, so I'm thinking down to 147, we were close to pricing in the Brexit, with maybe a little more down towards 138.5. Now we're up at 147. Looks like the markets are pricing in Remain with a possibility of a bump up to 148, maybe even the 150 round number. What's interesting, though, is that we're seeing this rally. Not only is it starting to stall out here near this channel top, but also right at the 200-day moving average. So it really would need to take out the 200-day average as well to signal a more significant upturn, that this trend trading channel has come to an end here. We had a downtrend in RSI as well. That's turned up, and it's now in around 60, similar to previous peaks for cable over the last month to 6 weeks. So we've had a good pop here. The question is, so where do we go from here? Well, if we get a Remain vote, then we've already priced a lot of that in. We could get a little bit more upside. If we were to get a Leave win, we could see this get hammered back down to the bottom of this channel, maybe a retest of the February lows. And to me, from what the polls would suggest to me, is it looks like we're headed down now for a neck-and-neck race right to the wire that's almost too close to call. Leave had been gaining momentum, but for all the talk of a big swing back to Remain, yeah, they've closed the gap, but Remain hasn't really opened up a huge lead, a couple, 2-3 percentage points, not what you would have thought given the magnitude of the event we've had and changes that we've had over the last few days. So, in fact, to me, it's still looking like it's a horse race right down to the wire. So we could see significant volatility in both directions as news comes out over the next several days and really right through the week. I'm also going to highlight a few other markets perhaps a little bit more briefly here. Let's start with pound yen. Pound yen is another one we could see be quite active through the week, with the yen being a defensive haven and, of course, the pound being quite exposed to the Brexit referendum. We've seen it here Thursday hammer, Friday inside day, breakaway gap up, back up through 150, back up through 151, trading near 153. First resistance here around 155, and this 50-day average here is around 156.75. The RSI is showing downward pressure easing, but has not confirmed an uptrend, upswing as of yet in momentum. So another one, because the JPY is a haven, this pair, as we've seen over the last while, could be particularly volatile depending on how the results go. The other thing I wanted to highlight is the pound relative to the euro. So if we look at euro pound, we're seeing, in this case, this is the euro going up, sterling going down. Then we had here the euro going down, sterling going up, and now we're quite volatile here in this 76 to 80 area. A Head and Shoulders looked like it had topped, then it failed. You almost could make this into a little bit bigger Head and Shoulders now, and this could still be a Head and Shoulders top forming in the index. If this ever breaks here, 200-day average around 75.55, then there's a 75 even round number. RSI has gone back under 50, an indication of a strengthening sterling, but we'll see what happens. This is another currency market that could be all over the place. Interestingly enough, though, as well as the pound has done lately to start the week, the euro has not been that strong. I mean, it's important to remember that if the UK votes to leave and there's an impact on its economy, there's going to be an impact on Europe too. The other thing to note with Europe, why I think they're not up as much, is I think people recognize that regardless of how the Brexit vote goes, this is the tip of the iceberg for the EU, and you're seeing it in other votes. On the weekend, you saw in Italy the Five-Star Movement, the Euroskeptics, won two big mayoral races, one in Rome, one in Turin. Big rejection of the establishment in those votes. In Spain, the Podemos-led coalition, and Podemos is another Eurosceptic party, but their coalition of opposition parties is leading and is close to gaining a majority in Spanish polls. So this is, regardless of what happens with Brexit, this isn't the only country that's upset with the direction of the EU, and that there's a lot of other things going on that we may see play out in the coming weeks and months. And of course, next year we have elections in Germany and France in 2017. So the Europe is uncertainty in Europe is certainly not out of the woods yet. Even if Remain wins, the Europe still faces significant uncertainty. And where are we seeing this? We're seeing this in Euro Yen, where, yes, we have had a bit of a rebound here, but not the kind of rebound we've seen in sterling. Yes, we had the downtrend, but really we've had a couple of inside days. We're not really getting a huge response to the upside. And then finally, if we take a look at euro dollar here, it's the same sort of thing. Euro dollar is just basically still in a big, huge sideways trend here, and it swings up and down, but it doesn't really have a lot of momentum in either direction. So the euro is not participating the same way as the pound in this rally. Pound is still likely to be extremely volatile through the week, and there still seems to be some skepticism and uncertainty surrounding the euro because the eurozone's bigger problems are a lot bigger than just Britain.